Imagine a world where your dinner is not harvested from a field, but composed, molecule by molecule in your own kitchen. A world where every meal is perfectly tailored to your body's unique nutritional needs. A symphony of flavor and function designed just for you. Picture towering vertical farms, gleaming pillars of green spiraling towards the sky in the heart of our biggest cities, providing fresh local produce to millions, untouched by pesticides and immune to the whims of weather. This vision, once the domain of science fiction, is rapidly becoming a necessity. Our current food system, a marvel of 20th century ingenuity, is straining under the weight of 21st century pressures. A booming global population, set to approach 10 billion people by 2050, is placing unprecedented demand on our planet's finite resources. Agriculture already consumes about 70% of the world's fresh water, and occupies nearly 40% of its land surface. Climate change is making weather patterns more extreme and unpredictable, threatening crop yields and disrupting ancient cycles of cultivation. The very soil that has sustained us for millennia is being depleted, and the long supply chains that bring food to our tables are fragile and wasteful, with nearly a third of all food produced being lost or thrown away. We are at a critical juncture, a moment in history where the way we feed ourselves must fundamentally change, or we risk a future of scarcity, ecological collapse, and widespread hunger. But humanity has always been defined by its ability to innovate in the face of crisis. We are now standing on the cusp of the next great food revolution, a paradigm shift as profound as the invention of agriculture itself. This is a revolution that moves beyond the elegant but limited chemistry of photosynthesis, a process that has powered life on Earth for billions of years. We are learning to work with biology in entirely new ways, to become architects of our own food. At the forefront of this movement is cellular agriculture. Instead of raising and slaughtering an entire animal for its meat, we can now take a small sample of cells and grow them in cultivators, providing them with the warmth and nutrients they need to multiply and form real biological muscle and fat. This is not a meat substitute, it is actual meat, produced with a fraction of the land, water, and emissions. Through a similar process called precision fermentation, we can program microorganisms like yeast to produce specific proteins, like the casein and whey found in milk, allowing us to create dairy products without a single cow. We are also reimagining the very idea of a farm. Controlled environment agriculture, or vertical farming, decouples food production from the constraints of land and climate. Inside these high-tech facilities, every variable, light, water, nutrients, temperature, is optimized for growth. Crops are stacked in layers, multiplying yield per square foot 100-fold. It's a system that promises year-round harvests of fresh local produce, drastically cutting down on transportation costs and food miles, and delivering unparalleled freshness and flavor directly to urban centers. And we are exploring novel sources of nutrition that have been overlooked for centuries. Mycelium, the intricate root network of fungi, is being harnessed as a remarkable protein-rich food source that can be grown in days, with a texture remarkably similar to whole-cut meats. Algae, the planet's most efficient photosynthetic organisms, are being cultivated in ponds and bioreactors to produce vast quantities of protein, healthy fats, and micronutrients, forming the base for a new generation of sustainable foods. This journey into the future of food is not without its profound challenges and ethical questions. What does it mean for our food to be natural? How will this technological shift impact the livelihoods of millions of farmers around the world? Who will control this new food supply? And how do we ensure that these incredible innovations lead to greater food equity, rather than deepening the divide between the rich and the poor? These are not simple questions, and the path forward requires not just scientific brilliance, but also careful consideration, public dialogue, and thoughtful policy. The challenge is immense, but the promise is extraordinary. A food system that is sustainable, resilient, and equitable. A future where we can feed everyone on Earth a healthy, delicious diet without destroying the planet in the process. The technologies are here, the pioneers are at work, the revolution has already begun. Prepare to see how we are building the future of food right now. Why traditional farming struggles with a growing global population and climate change. Examining the unsustainable footprint of current agricultural practices. the urgent need for radical innovation beyond current solutions. Exploring single-cell proteins, SCP, like algae and bacteria as nutrient powerhouses. The surprising potential of fungal mycelium for sustainable, customizable food. How these unconventional sources offer impressive efficiency and minimal land use. Demystifying cellular agriculture, producing meat and dairy without animals. The science behind cultivating muscle and fat cells in bioreactors. Addressing the scalability and consumer acceptance challenges of lab-grown food. As our planet grapples with a growing population and the mounting pressures of climate change on traditional agriculture, a revolutionary solution is rising in our cities. This is the world of vertical farming, a cornerstone of controlled environment agriculture, or CEA. At its core, the concept is brilliantly simple yet profoundly impactful. Instead of sprawling outwards across vast tracts of land, we grow upwards, stacking crops in vertically layered systems. This approach allows us to produce significantly more food per square meter, freeing up precious land for rewilding and ecosystem restoration. The benefits are transformative. These farms use up to 95% less water than conventional field farming thanks to closed-loop systems that recycle and reuse every drop. And by creating a perfectly controlled indoor environment, we are no longer at the mercy of seasons or unpredictable weather. This means consistent year-round harvests of fresh produce, immune to the droughts, floods, and frosts that increasingly threaten our food supply. Inside these facilities, we find a plant paradise engineered for perfection. The sunlight is replaced by tailored LED lighting, where specific spectrums of light can be adjusted to enhance not just the growth rate, but also the flavor, color, and even the nutritional content of the crops. Plants are grown without soil, using methods like hydroponics, where roots are bathed in a nutrient-rich water solution, or aeroponics, which mists the roots directly with essential minerals. This soilless approach eliminates the need for pesticides and herbicides, resulting in cleaner, safer food. The true intelligence of these farms lies in the seamless integration of AI and automation. A sophisticated network of sensors constantly monitors every variable, from temperature and humidity to CO2 levels, and the precise pH of the nutrient solution. This torrent of data is fed into an AI-powered central system, the digital brain of the operation. It analyzes the information in real time, making micro-adjustments to create the absolute optimal conditions for every single plant. If AI is the brain, then automation provides the hands. Armies of robots glide through the aisles, performing tasks with tireless precision. They plant seedlings, monitor for signs of stress, and harvest produce at the exact peak of ripeness, 24 hours a day. This level of automation not only reduces labor costs, but also minimizes human contact, ensuring a higher standard of food safety and consistency. Perhaps the most profound impact of vertical farming is its ability to radically relocalize our food chain. By integrating these farms directly into our urban landscapes, in repurposed warehouses, on rooftops, or in new purpose-built structures, we can slash the food miles our produce travels. This dramatically reduces transport emissions and our reliance on complex, vulnerable global supply chains. The result is unparalleled freshness. Produce can be harvested, packaged, and delivered to a local grocery store or restaurant within hours, not days or weeks. This means better flavor, higher nutritional value, and less food waste. However, the technology is not without its challenges. The high energy consumption for lighting and climate control remains a significant hurdle, though the industry is rapidly innovating with more efficient LEDs and the integration of renewable energy sources. Furthermore, the range of crops that are currently economically viable is mostly limited to leafy greens, herbs, and some fruits. But research is pushing these boundaries every day. Vertical farming may not replace traditional agriculture entirely, but it stands as a powerful complementary system, a vital tool in building a more resilient, sustainable, and food-secure future for all. Envisioning the future of food doesn't mean erasing the past. It means creating a diverse hybrid ecosystem where novel technologies and traditional wisdom work in concert. This is not a sterile, lab-grown dystopia, but a vibrant mosaic of food production, tailored to the needs of both people and the planet. In our cities, vertical farms can provide fresh, local produce year-round, drastically cutting down on food miles, water usage, and pesticide dependency. Meanwhile, precision fermentation and cellular agriculture can produce essential proteins and fats with a fraction of the land and resources required by conventional livestock. This isn't about replacing the farmer, it's about freeing up land that can be returned to nature, rewilded to restore biodiversity, or dedicated to regenerative agriculture that heals our soil. This creates a decentralized, resilient food web. A city might grow its own greens and culture its own protein, while sourcing specialty grains from rural, regenerative farms. This hybrid model diversifies our food sources, making us less vulnerable to climate shocks and supply chain disruptions. But this technological revolution brings profound ethical and economic questions. A world less reliant on traditional animal agriculture represents one of the largest economic shifts in human history. What happens to the hundreds of millions of people whose livelihoods depend on farming? A just transition is not an option, it is a moral imperative. This means massive investment in retraining programs, empowering rural communities to become hubs of this new food economy. Imagine former farmhands becoming bioreactor technicians, or agricultural colleges teaching data science for vertical farming. The ethical landscape is equally complex. Who will own these foundational technologies? We must actively work to prevent a future where our food supply is controlled by a handful of corporations. Open-source innovation and community-owned facilities are crucial for ensuring equitable access and food sovereignty. Furthermore, we need an open, honest public dialogue about the nature of our food, with transparent labeling and robust safety regulations to build consumer trust. Forging this future requires a concerted, global effort. It begins with a call to action, a commitment to supporting the research and innovation that will underpin a truly food-secure planet. This means public investment in foundational science, tackling big challenges without the pressure of immediate commercial returns. Policymakers must create clear, science-based regulatory frameworks that provide certainty for innovators while ensuring safety for consumers. International cooperation is essential to harmonize standards and prevent trade barriers from stifling progress. Ultimately, the goal is a food system that is resilient, equitable, and sustainable. One that can nourish a growing population while regenerating our planet. It's a future where our plates are filled with foods that are not only delicious and nutritious, but are also a product of human ingenuity working in harmony with nature. This is the promise of the future fork. A tool not just for eating but for building a better world for generations to come.